I've been working on a project. It's an animation project. It's a pretty cool project. A lot of work involved. And I learned a very valuable lesson. Not learned. Glad I had learned a very valuable lesson before. And that's the value of backing up your projects and all your source footage.
Because
I was at home. It was Saturday night. I had been working since about 9 a.m. And it was about 7 p.m. I would say approximately 7 p.m.
okay,
And my son, who was potty training, needed to use the bathroom, so he told me. So I stood up instinctively to go address the needs of the young human that lives in my home.
is that how you call? That's that what you call? Just some gremlin.
I set his expectations high.
Okay.
He's not a kid.
He's just a small human.
human.
Okay.
Just kidding. And so I stood up and not thinking about it. I had the laptop sitting next to me the hard drive sitting next to me in the chair, and I stood up and I heard it hit the floor, and it swung down like a pendulum, disconnected from the power cord, and boom, hit the ground. And I was like,
Did you see it or did you just hear it?
I heard it.
Okay, and then you looked down in it. Okay.
So I picked it up. I looked at the corner, and there was a little dent on it. It wasn't anything too bad cosmetically. It was
Sure.
So
You're thinking, it's probably fine.
I go help the little human do his business, and I just kind of was like, I'll address that in a minute. 'Cause
Yeah.
I'm tired, and I don't need to blow up right now, so I'm just gonna conserve that
Right.
energy. So I go help him, and I come back, and I was like, maybe, just maybe, this thing will work. I mean, I've never had a hard drive actually fail on me, ever. Everyone's has stories of it happening, and like, I just must be really lucky, because unless I do something to the disk or it is my fault, I've never had a hard drive fail on me. Knock on wood. But yeah, plug it in. This disk cannot be mounted. It is corrupt. It may need formatting. I'm like, what does it need formatting? I just scrambled its brains.
You're like, this thing needs a lobotomy.
Because the drive was on.
Yeah.
And it was spinning.
Oh, yeah. So it was toast.
So when I dropped it, I was like, oh,
Yeah.
that wasn't good.
Yep.
It was toast. So luckily, I did have the forethought before I went and addressed the small human. I saved my project file that I had open.
Yeah.
Because it was like, well, did you lose all your work? Well, I saved that project file to my desktop. I don't think people usually think about that. I think sometimes people go into like freak out mode, like, oh, my life's over. And they, they close the program in a fit of rage, and they're like, that was your only remnant of the work you had.
Just like, take a minute.
Right.
Chill.
So I'm glad I did that.
Think.
So worst case scenario, I just had to relink the footage.
Sure.
Because I had a backup. Which gets us to the point of today's topic.
Pretty much.
Back
I mean,
your
that's
footage up.
Yeah.
You don't need to back everything up. Back up what would be annoying to try to get back, or impossible to get back.
Or impossible. The essentials.
So obviously, start with the essentials.
Yeah.
If you cannot get this back and something happens, back it up twice, 3
footage.
times. Back it up.
Pretty much footage. Always footage.
Always footage. Anything you went out and spent a day doing that you don't want to spend money out of pocket to reshoot. Which is everything, back it up.
So we learned this lesson very early in this
We got lucky,
lifetime of this company.
Got really lucky on that.
Well, before that, I had never had a drive fail on me personally.
Wait, what story are you talking about?
I'm talking about the one you're thinking about.
But you said before that.
Yeah, I'm talking about
you're
anytime,
prefacing.
at film school, I never had a drive fail.
Yeah.
So I was like, whatever, we're good.
Right.
And we were using that silver,
Western Digital.
Yeah, the Western Digital drive.
Yep.
On our first project.
It was like a trade of
It was like a
services.
trade of services project, and we had
website
shot
for a promo
everything.
video.
Yep, shot everything
On the red.
and I don't remember what we were writing.
Oh, I remember what happened.
Yeah, we were writing something to it, and the computer crashed.
We were backing up.
We were backing up. We were doing our due diligence. Like, hey, you know what? We should back this up.
We were backing it up.
And the computer crashed.
And the computer froze.
Yes, that's right.
We couldn't do anything.
Yeah.
We were using a Mac formatted hard drive
Yep.
on a PC. We were using a software called Mac Drive, which I highly recommend. It's a great software. If you're handed a Mac formatted hard drive and you work on a PC environment, Mac Drive is the go-to resource. If you'd like to sponsor this video down below.
Hey, Mac Drive.
But that's how we were operating. We had the hard drive plugged into the PC, a Mac formatted hard drive plugged into the PC, mounting to our desktop through Mac Drive. The computer freezes.
Yep.
And it wasn't just like, it wasn't like a blue screen of death or shut down. It was
just
frozen.
a freeze. It was just it's done.
It wasn't moving.
Yeah,
we had no options but to hard reset the computer. Well,
and we sat and debated that for a while.
We
We're
did.
like,
We
what
were
do we do?
What do we do? I guess we have to reset it.
Yeah,
and so we did, which scrambled the boot record. And for those who don't know, a boot record is essentially like a top-level file on a hard drive that pretty much says, hey, this is where I mounted last time. This is how I was unmounted. It's a way of telling the computer I'm healthy. I don't need to be repaired, kind of thing. So we scrambled the boot record.
Now, we could have...
Nah, I'll get to that. Because that was my fault.
Please do.
Because that was my fault.
Yep.
So me being me and dumb, I thought...
Because when it popped back up, it asked if you...
No. It was not mount. Remember, we turned the computer back on.
It wasn't mounting.
It was not mounting to the PC.
Right.
And we're like, why is this not mounting? Well, we knew it was a Mac hard drive, so we got out one of our MacBooks.
Oh, yeah,
and
we
tried
plugged
mounting
it in,
it.
yeah.
And when that happened, a message popped up on my screen, a very infamous message that I'll never forget. I don't
Would you
remember.
like
I remember
to...
there are 3 buttons.
Yeah.
It says, this drive is corrupt. Would you like to... And then it asked me a couple things. And one of the buttons was initialize. Now, to me, the word initialize
means like start.
Yeah,
Let's start it up.
Let's get
Rev the engines.
Booting. So I hit initialize. It means format in PC language.
In Mac language.
In Mac language, it is the equivalent to format, and the drive was thus scrambled.
Yeah. Luckily.
Well, no. So then we take it to a data recovery company. We get a quote for $2,500.
$2,500.
The projects on that drive were not worth saving.
Yeah.
Except for this one project we were working on. There were a couple other projects on there. It was like, what, a 2 terabyte disk or something?
Yeah.
And we got the quote back, it's $2,500. We're like, this is a trade of service thing.
This is not worth it.
Like, if the guy doesn't want to give me a website, fine.
Well, just shut it down.
Right. And so we debated that heavily for 2 weeks, right?
Yeah.
It was like 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And then luckily, as dumb luck would have it, I was perusing. Like, we were pretty much convinced we were going to the client. Like
yo, man, this project's done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I was just out of dumb luck perusing the other drives on the system.
Yeah.
And I found a folder called Selects.
Yeah. We had backed up all of the selected shots.
We had only pulled the selected shots.
Yeah.
We said these will be the shots we edit from.
Yeah.
And
we had pulled them and put them on the computer.
And they were backed up onto a hard drive. And that was a dodge a bullet moment.
Yeah. And from that day on, we immediately went and bought like a RAID system.
So what we do from now on, or from then, what our process is, every single project, we budget drives.
Yeah.
If we have drives sitting around, we'll use them because there's no reason to have a million drives, in my opinion. I know some production companies buy a drive for every single project.
Yeah.
I don't find that necessary because sometimes projects are only
20 megs.
100 gigs. Like, sometimes they're not that big.
Not 20 meg. They're not 20
You know,
megs.
and like, and
yeah,
having all those hard drives, our
Right.
archive system, it's like, oh my gosh, you would have to search. So we load drives up
Yeah.
to their fullest, and then we, pull out the drive, spin it up every year or so, and make sure it still mounts.
Archive stuff. And
But yeah, that was a big, valuable lesson that we learned. And had that been a paid client project,
I would have been crapping bricks.
Well, I mean, luckily at that time we were still young, and we were, one of our teachers who let us use the red, he probably would have been cool and let us reshoot it.
Yeah.
And I would have done
I think we had
point.
already called him, actually.
Oh, we might have.
Yeah,
I don't
so
remember that. I was probably just scrambling about.
We were. It was a a big sweating moment, but we got through it and came out with some valuable info on the other side. So since then I am glad that we got in that habit, because since then we have had drives fail. You said we didn't, but we have.
When?
We had a drive fail in our RAID system.
That's different.
One time. Okay.
That's different.
Okay. But one time,
I'm talking about, okay.
One time we had backed up with our Western. We had backed up all the footage on 2 drives. And one of our buddies was here, and we had a cords run, and it was a stupid setup, but we had cords run from a table to a drive, and you had to like go out one way, and he just wasn't. He tripped on it and yanked the disc right off, and we were just like, we all just looked at it. He's like, "Oh man, I'm so sorry. You think that's okay?" We're like, "No, dude."
Plugged it in, it's going.
That
tick, tick,
yeah,
tick,
we're like,
tick,
"Nope, that's gone.
toast.
That is toast."
That drive is toast. It was the same. It was the same drive.
Yeah.
It was a drive that I formatted.
Oh.
It was, because after that project, after we got
we put a different
back,
drive in
and
there,
we had already scrambled the drive, we're like, we'll just format it and use it now as a hard drive. So we did, but that was the same drive. So then that one went in the trash.
Yeah.
That's so funny. I do remember that. What I mean is, like, I hear people all the time saying, like, my drive just failed.
Right.
What do I talk to people and they're just like, my hard drive crashed. It's kind of like, I think it's the equivalent of my dog ate my homework.
Yeah.
I think they don't want to admit they foobarred stuff, because I've never experienced that. Anytime there's been a drive failure, it's been my fault.
Right.
Except for the time in the raid. That was the one time when we actually had a hard
We've actually seen
failure.
Right. We actually witnessed the drive kill itself, I guess.
Yeah, the light went red.
Yep, and we're like,
whoop.
"Oh crap."
So we bought a new drive, pulled out the old one, put a new one in. It's a raid, so it rebuilt itself.
Right.
Which was fine. It took
and that's
30 hours to do.
That's the point.
That's the point of
it.
a raid.
That's the whole point of the raid. And since then, I'm glad I've never been in this situation, but of like, oh, my hard drive failed. I don't have any options. I don't have any backups.
I was almost there, but luckily, so the client, they delivered the files on this project I'm working on now. It's a green screen project and a visual effects project, and they delivered the raw files to me on one of their hard drives, and I copied that over to my working drive so I could freely operate on it. And I was going to give them back the hard drive when they dropped some equipment off to me.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm just going to hold on to this for the duration of the project. And I'm glad I did, because this was Saturday night. My deadline is tomorrow. So this was Saturday night, and I was maybe 40% of the way done through the project at the time of the drive failure. And so I would have had to wait. I mean, I worked. After I got everything up and done, I worked until 4 a.m. on Saturday. So from I think I started about 9 and I went till 4 a.m. And after I got back up and running. So had I not, though, I would have lost all that work time.
Right.
Which would have pushed me further back.
Right.
So that, and also the shoot day didn't happen the day it was supposed to. It was 2 days after.
Yeah.
So I was already 2 days behind. So to already fall behind another day, I was like, oh, God. So I'm very grateful that I had that raw footage, because all I had to do was transfer it onto a new drive. I did the same thing. I was thinking, I could just pick up on their drive. I could just put my project file on that drive and work off of it, which I would have been up and running in 5 minutes, no problem. But then I was thinking, well, no, if that drive fails, then I am toast.
Right.
So I got another hard drive, which I had laying around. Spent 2.5 hours transferring the footage from the client's drive to my drive, which was slow, but I was transferring it over USB. I don't even remember what it was. It was slow. Oh, USB 3.
Yeah.
Anyway, and so then I got back up and running and got working, and it was good. And so my wife walks in, she's like, "What's the matter?" I'm like, "I just dropped a hard drive." And she's like, "Is it bad?" I was like, I mean, it would be, but no.
Yeah.
And she's like, "I think you'd be a little bit more mad." I'm like, I really don't care. Hard drives are so cheap now.
Yeah, they're super cheap.
I mean, I dropped a 2 terabyte hard drive, but it probably costs
$70, maybe 50.
Maybe. And you know what? And I can always try to. It's not clicking, and I've run diagnostics on the drive, and it says the drive's working. In fact, I can still mount that drive to a MacBook because it's Mac formatted.
Sure.
And it still reads it, and I can pull the files off of it. It just the Mac OS X tells me do not write to this drive.
So
I have read.
Retire it.
I have read. Well, but I could probably format it.
Yeah, probably.
I probably just did the same thing. I probably just scrambled the boot record. But yeah, it might not be the most healthy drive to use in the future. It might just be something you just kick to the can.
Yeah.
But
yeah, I mean, like, kind of final, short real talk, but really just
back it up.
Back your stuff up. If if for some reason, here's my 2 bits of advice. One is back it up. Back it up, back it up, back it up. Like, I can't stress that enough. Back your stuff up. The other one is if for some reason you haven't backed it up or you don't, or you have worked on something and the thing you need is crucial and you do have a drive failure, don't panic.
Just lift your hands up
initialize.
and say,
yeah, literally just take your hands away and stop.
What do I do? And then
get your phone out, Google like hard drive repair in my city.
I have bought I do have a data recovery software, which is fantastic.
Which sometimes works, but if you got to get
this one's
in,
very good. This is like very aggressive data recovery,
Sure.
And as long as you don't format the drive and then write new files to it, it can find those files. I recommend in this industry getting a data recovery software service, because even if you have I've had SD cards that fail, that won't mount, that I've been able to pull data off of.
Yeah.
So,
but if you have like a disk spinning thing,
time,
you should take it to somebody who could take the disks out nicely and get data off.
I mean, that's really expensive. But
yes,
but and that's a difference.
That's
too.
That's a catastrophe.
I mean, in that situation, if you have a mechanical failure where the disk isn't spinning up, then you got to take it somewhere where they can disassemble that in a dust-free setting, transfer those disks to a new unit, and then spin it back up and get your data off it. But you don't have to do that if you back it up.
Back it up.
Back it up.
Back it up.
Because the odds of your 2 drives failing simultaneously
is very low.
Small.
So back it up.
And if that does happen, and you use your backup to transfer files, back it up again.
Always have a backup.
Always have a backup.
Always have a backup.
Especially on crucial projects.
Always have a backup.
It's that simple.
I mean, I think we've said it 10 times now.
Always have a backup.
Yeah.
I feel like we need text popping up around our head. Always. Fill the screen.
Always
have a backup.
Have a backup.
Do we always have a backup?
Yes.
I feel like there are some projects where we don't.
There's some internal projects I don't back up these real talks because I get them done in a day and then they're gone.
And you delete them.
So yeah, not always, but for client projects, they're always backed up.
Well, that's it. Back it up.
Back it up.
Back it up. Avoid catastrophe.
So that's it. Thanks for joining us for Real Talk today. Back your stuff up. It's that simple. Just buy another hard drive. Back it up. If you want to support us on this channel, share, and subscribe. And we'll see you on the next one.